from Gabriel Muniz's family to paint him out to be a classic abuser. And here we go. Muniz's father told Eyewitness News that she was afraid and that Duberry, my son's father, did not like her career. That's a bold-faced lie. And she was not a single mother doing it by herself. In fact, the grandmother spoke out on one of the podcasts. That's a lie, what Gabriela's mother says. My son, Rosara Estevez's father, this is coming from Daisy Estevez, the grandmother, lived with his daughter for 8 years, raising them together. It's not like what she says, that she raised her daughter alone. They only had 11 months apart. Now, she was the reason why the problem, the narrative, this is what she told her family in Florida who wasn't around, because she was printing fake prescriptions, sending them to a pharmacy in Fordham Road to alienate anybody in the neighborhood to know what's going on, and forcing him to take pills. This is why it explicitly says that she wanted to be a pharmacologist. So this is what happens when things like this happen. They praise one person as an angel when they were in fact not an angel, and doing disturbing things behind closed doors. Okay? Now, here we have studying pharmacology. Okay? They went strictly off of titles, not who she was as a person. Roughly 12 hours after, within those 12 hours, he was caught on the camera as well. Someone who plans to unalive somebody does not walk around for 12 to 14 hours in shock of what happened. They plan it, they execute it, and they disappear. This was clearly not the case. This was a case of pressure building over the last several months with manipulation towards everybody in the family. Now let's keep going. Okay, so here we have a 26-year-old Gabriel Muniz pressuring Caleb, a grown man, to take pills while sending them to a pharmacy in Fordham Road when they did not live in Fordham Road. Okay? Now we're going to go through those. Let's go to the files. Now, he was paroled to the house where he passed away at. But she begged the parole board to put him in her house. Here you see the pills, Monticello Avenue, apartment 1, Bronx, New York. Sertraline. For a person with borderline split disorder, sertraline acts as an adjutant and anxiety. He was, in the last few weeks, Victoria, his friend, that she's also the mother of of my son's cousin, said in the last weeks he was very paranoid, thinking that his friends were federal agents. The next thing is that if they lived in Monticello and if his main residence was in Boston sector, in Edenwald, and his sister's house, where he originally was from, was on Morrison. Why was she sending pills to Fordham Road? Okay. Now, she had manipulated the case and lied to the courts in Florida using her power as the titles that they stated to present her as a professional and an angel to the public, while tarnishing my son's father's name and reality. They did not care about the actual children that were left behind to read the lies on the media. Okay? Here goes her stamp. Coordinating a case on me without knowing me, having no respect for my privacy. Okay? While she's in New York, she hacked into the Florida system with her licenses and falsely served me so that she can win a default case. Okay? Now that part we're going to show over here. These are direct messages. We're going to go through these messages first. A person that was scared of someone, of course, they were fabricating and manipulating Caleb Duberry behind closed doors. She would call and say her baby daddy, Rosara's father, was coming to take her kid, and call Kay for help. He would always leave. So she alienated her daughter from her father. She made him beat N up, and we got booked for that. I know all of this because I was there. She would call Kay for help, and we go. And Dika, he would always leave. Basically, Dika means and if, as if, and he would always leave. It means bullish. Bullshit. Okay? This is what she was doing behind closed doors to manipulate and alienate Caleb Duberry and let his family finish the job that was in Florida by giving false testimonies to eyewitness news. Do you understand? Let's keep going. The sister was always manipulating as well. Caleb's sister, the one that threw him out into the street. Now, Gabriella teamed up with the sister. Let me get those messages now. I have to switch back and forth. Here she goes with her pharmacology. New name and photo, Gabrielle Muniz. I think your titi is suffering from an ulcer because she's taking ibuprofen, etc., etc. I'm going to send her because I know Caleb won't tell her right now. Why? Because you're constantly inserting yourself as a doctor and a paralegal or pharmacology, whatever you want to call it, because I've worked in pharmacies for 10 years and I know brain anatomies. I'm a medical assistant. And I've done reprographics in front of the Empire State Building, doing law firm paperwork, duplicating them. That exact duplicating. So this is her using And I know Caleb won't tell her right now. We're talking about she's reaching out to his sister, the same one that was already targeting Caleb and targeting me and my child. So she inserted herself as well. This is one of his friends that was upset about what happened and how they were painting him out to the media. We're going to go through what the sister did. His sister decided, my father died in December 2019. So she used my father's deceased name to harass me on Facebook. I hope you got what you wanted, you dumb bitch. You've always been a lying bitch. I'm so happy his stupid ass is believing your dumb, ugly ass. The fact that you're giving this nigga false hope about his kid. You ain't shit but carry on, bitch. I wish you a great life. Let me know if you need my number. I have no problem. Thank God your son has you, you trifling bitch. This is a person who alienated my son when he got there. I dropped him off to her house when my father was dead and I was going to his funeral. And she used Caleb's other daughter to attack my child. And basically what she's doing is putting children against each other. So once his daughter decided to tell the truth to her father about what the problem was, and the truth, which his father was in jail, what his sister was doing, she exploded and made a fake name, used my father's name and a fake page to further harass me. Okay? This is not a woman. This is the thing. This is before she passed away, right, Gabrielle? This is not a woman who was scared of anybody. This is a woman who is directly manipulating and alienating Caleb Duberry, my child's father, from his family. Okay? All you see is these headlines. Okay? But what you do not see is the truth. Okay? Okay, we're going to go into when I love you, P. April 17. I love you, P, and I'm sorry. I know the truth now. I just spoke to my daughter. She hates me and Kason, my son, because my sister, she's been telling my kids and my kids' mothers all of these hateful things while I was in jail. And now I'm home and she turns on me. She's been jealous of me my whole life. It's fucked up. I'm hurt. And I don't have a relationship with my kids. She got me thinking my son is gay, etc. Bad, hurtful, etc. This is the sister. Okay, son, relax for a second. I'm fucked. No, I'm busy. I'm fucked up. I'm hurt because I don't have a relationship with my kids. She got me thinking my son is gay, bad, hurtful. I can't believe this. I'm crying, P. You know me. I'm hurt. I wish my mom's was here to see this shit. Yo, she wants me to hurt y'all, to hate y'all because I had kids with y'all. She don't like y'all or want me to be cordial. I'm sorry. His friend Victoria reaches out after Strategic Eyes podcast. I remember when he told me about you And if you ever doubt it, that boy loved you. My condolences. This is the podcast where, they gave him accounts to try to dirty his name, as well as, Strategic Eyes, he tried to get my story, but her family was directly pressuring us to paint her as an angel. Now, this is when she began to use her powers and made it seem as if she was helping him. She was not helping him, because Caleb never takes me to court. Me and him never had a problem with alienation. In fact, we were in contact the entire time. Now, I'm not gonna, let me see. Let me see. Okay, this is the papers. Oh, God, this is stressful, y'all. Okay, now we're gonna go to the actual messages. On top, what his sister was doing, Alberto was the boy that he grew up with. That's his brother. That's who he called last before he committed suicide. I just wanted to find Kason for Caleb, and she wouldn't let me. Right, of course. I found you. I said, no wonder my son doesn't like her anymore. My son experienced at the age of 9, while his grandfather, the trip we took to New York was because my father died. And while I was going to claim his body and set up the funeral, I left him with who I thought I could trust, Brianne Duberry, Caleb's sister. She put his daughter against my son, and then she ridiculed me to my son while she manipulated his daughter. So she attacked a child that was 9 years old, Caleb's son, while this was going on. The reason I know is because he came when we went to my father's funeral, and I picked him up. That's when he told my daughter, and he told me what Brianne did behind closed doors. So he had to suffer the consequences of what was going on due to Gabrielle Muniz illegally filing things on me from New York through a Florida system, because she was licensed in Florida. And so I would shut down from the stress and try to protect my sanity while I'm raising my child. Meanwhile, she was not a single mother. In fact, her child's father lived in Caleb's original building, bypassing that moral respect for her daughter's father and her daughter's sake, and their family and everyone painted a complete different picture. So I blocked my child's father because of the manipulation with the courts with Gabrielle. You don't have to be by yourself now. I'm home. I can help you, but it seems like I can't do that. I love that boy with all my heart. I'm sorry, P. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Us together was toxic. We were only 20 and 24 when we were together, okay? He didn't even have a record. You are my soulmate. This is the things he's telling me while he was with Gabrielle, and she was forcing this entire scenario. You are my heart, my soulmate. You will forever have my heart. Okay, so that's why I made this. Okay? Because this is the reality. We had direct communication while he was in jail. Here we go. While she's making these prescriptions from the comfort of her home, which is what her mother and her father need to know, and not taking care of her daughter. Honestly, bye, all you do is lie. Somebody that's so scared. So where is it then? What do you mean take the pill, Gabby? I threw it out. I'm starting tomorrow fresh in front of you. This is clear manipulation. So either way, you lied to me saying you did earlier. I'm over it. Bye. You can lie to yourself. This is already by the time that she had alienated him. I did lie. Yes, baby. I wanted to smoke again before taking them. I don't mix. I'm done. I told Boo I'm done last night. You lied to me the other day. What you fail to realize is I can tell when you lie. I don't care what you wanted. I guess this is what she did the entire relationship, which was only 9 to 10 months. But people love the narrative. Okay, so we're going to keep going. This is Caleb with my son. This is Caleb before he lost his life. Took his life under severe chemical anesthesia. He knew in his soul that those pills and his chemistry would not work. That's my son at the bottom, and that's Caleb as a baby. And I know Caleb won't tell her right now. This is a woman who went to the parole board to tell them that she wanted him paroled to her house so that she can get more control over him. He already had a place to live. That was the place where he took his life. After 14 hours. Sertraline. And these are the pills. That's my son's same hands. That's crazy. Sorry for the loss. I fully support Caleb and will not let anyone tarnish his name. Listen to your heart. Remember the good times. I love you, and again, I'm sorry. Oh, God, this shit is bothering me. The sister, she really showed her ass in his last days. This is coming strictly from Caleb Duberry. All right. Yeah, I had a panic attack that exact same night that they were all losing their lives. But I was 3,000 miles away, so I didn't know what was going on, but my soul felt it. And that's why, coming to find out now that he was my soulmate, I see exactly why I felt what I felt. Something in my heart, I wanted to reach out before March 6th. And so I was contemplating, but since she had me tied against the wall with this court case, I just shut down. I shut down because I'm a person that's been through a lot. And I was actively trying to protect myself and my sanity for his son. I miss my baby. Okay. Now we're going to hit the other text messages. Now we see exactly what's going on behind closed doors. This is a man on PCP, a blunt that they gave him of PCP, as well as Gabriel Muniz. with her desires to control, making him take pills. Okay? I know he cried to me mad times. He was high. Now we're going to keep going. I got stories about his family and what they've done to him. Sorry, that's my dog. Who I had to get. Another reason what was happening was dealing with the stress of what Gabrielle was doing with the courts and her notary license and her paralegal power. My son and I was stressed out for so long that he had his first grand mal seizure February 18, 2022. So I had to stop everything and attend to that. But it wasn't until February 16 that she sent me an electronic email. Gabrielle Muniz falsely served me and lied to the courts in Florida. She never served me, therefore I didn't know that I had an order. I knew that he spoke about it because he was telling me that that the case was getting initiated. And he said, I don't want to hide anything from you. That's somebody who was manipulated to do that. If she met him around January 2021, why is she emailing me April 2021 and pulling up my 5 addresses with no respect for my privacy? That was not what he wanted to do. Why you think what he did to himself? Because he noticed what he did. He wasn't scared about jail. Exactly. Caleb did 8 years in jail. And solitary confinement at that. And in all the letters that he wrote me, he said he was not going to ever commit suicide or take meds. The same meds that Gabrielle was threatening him and creating a problem to take, while all this man was trying to do was come home and fix his life. So the family's narratives have destroyed another generation of children, which are his direct children, due to them wanting to paint her as an angel for the public when she directly alienated her own daughter from her father and used my child's father as a pawn in her sick games. Let's go. My brother was a good man, a good dad. It took him 2 years to find me, okay? Because his sister, as well as, it's called post-mortem silence, okay? On top of the fact they created the perfect storm for Caleb Duberry, the silence came after. But after some guilt from several parties, the one handing him the PCP blunt, the one who kicked him out into the street and disrespected his children and children's mothers and used his own daughter to hate his son, which is her brother, his son's mother, which is me, and used her to hate Caleb, okay? Because that's what Brienne was doing, manipulating behind closed doors and being evil. You saw it from the horse's mouth. You saw it from Caleb's Duberry's last words. And now you see it from Alberto, his brother. I wanted to find Kason for Caleb and she wouldn't let me. I asked when he died, can you get me in contact with his son? Because Kay would want me to. He loved that kid. That's why I hit you up. She hates us for no reason. Oh my God, this is so sad. No, Amy told me the same thing. We have several accounts and proof, screenshots from Amy, Victoria, Alberto, and screenshots between conversations between Caleb and Gabrielle. Okay? Because the truth needs to come out, because what they did was disregard his real children to destroy their mentality and their life going forward, to paint their daughter, who was a manipulator and a bad mother. Why she's a bad mother? Because she completely sacrificed her child for her lust and her desire of her flesh to be with a man who she knew what he was battling with. A man that just came home, a man on parole, a man who was desiring to repair his life and see his son. Alberto, I want to expose all of their asses. I've been dying to get on a podcast. His sister was on perks and was mean to her mother in the last days. Michelle, Caleb Duberry's mother. My son saw it. And he saw that as early as 6, 7 years old. And 9 years old. Because that's the last time he saw them in person. Due to how she turned around and treated my son and me right after. And that's when Caleb was going home. He came home 2020. We were last there January 2020, because my father passed December 29, 2019. And he said, Alberto says, yes, he would cry to me and vent. He was crying about what happened to his mom. Not just because she passed, because Brienne was directly being mean to that lady, her own mother, in her last days. Alberto says always mean to her. So me and Caleb never even discussed that. So we both were very aware of what was happening. But he would always forgive her. Caleb continued to forgive his sister. Caleb supported her while she was growing up, despite her father paying child support for her until the age of 25. This kid was, I'll be honest, Caleb didn't stand a chance with the surroundings, the family, the new toxic girlfriend, the karmic girlfriend. That's what you call a karmic. It's someone who's going to come and create the perfect storm for you. And karma means actions and consequences of actions. So this is not a mother who was just a professional trying to take care of her daughter. This was somebody who used her power to manipulate and alienate and control. She was like an octopus. She had her hands in trying to control Caleb's primary residence where he passed away at. Medications with her pharmacology desire. Contacts the sister, the one person who we already knew had a big hand in abusing his mother, his son, and him, and his daughter through lies and manipulation, and disrespecting me using my dead father's name. On fact, that when he passed, you know how in Strategic Eyes, I don't know, they try to paint him as a bum. And the father tried to say that he was jealous of her profession. This is absolute lies. Okay? This is lies. And his son and daughter have to read these lies and believe that about their own father, further causing more damage to a new generation because of ego, pride, and covering up. All of his clothes, everything was disappeared. Once again, she would make situations to manipulate Caleb and her son's father. Okay? We're talking about the court case here. He did not want to handle it like that. He had to go to court. She was making him go, and he didn't want to. It was court for your son. He did not want to handle it like that at all. Why didn't they mention it? Because her family wasn't going to keep that. They wasn't going to tell that. They were in Florida assuming and accusing. Why his sister didn't say nothing? Because she was guilty of what she did with the children and with her brother. He said, we were two good people in a fire. The same thing they did to him, they did to me. Destroy my character, tarnish my name. This is what they did. This is what happens when everybody sees two good people that are trying their best with mental health issues, and what they do is insert themselves directly to manipulate, fabricate, and destroy families. And it be your own family that'll do it. The closest people to you. His friend set him up. He walked him to get shot. In fact, Gabrielle loved gambling as well. She loved betting on sports. Victoria knew very clear that she would pull up in the street and embarrass Caleb and tell him to get his ass home and bring the money. Why? Because she loved to do a lot of things from that computer that her father said that Caleb broke. Caleb bought that computer, and he was not jealous of any profession. The problem is that your daughter used her professions as weapons of destruction instead of following the rules. She was not a doctor. She falsely filed court papers on me. She never served me so that she could get a direct default. But then she sends me that through electronic mail on February 16. But my son went into a grand mal seizure February 18. So this is important for my son and his daughter, their father, okay? This is not making up stories to paint anybody like a hero like they did with their daughter when she directly did not care about her own daughter, okay? This is for the restoration of Caleb's children, Chastity and Kason, because they are innocent. Dust killed Caleb Duberry. We're talking about PCP. Now, you see in the text messages that she was well aware of his PCP habit. A professional paralegal, right, that got with a man with a court record that just came home, and she put him and begged the parole board to put him in her home with her daughter while alienating her daughter from her father. Okay? Within 3 months of meeting him. You know what a real woman would do? A real mother? She would say, not email me and tell me, I'm aware of what he's done, but we're going to be in town and such. She would not bypass and give out my addresses. That's what a real woman would have done. A real caring mother, an angel, a hero, right? So they can go with assumptions, but I'm coming with the proofs. All these women was on his dick. Okay. We're all aware, Gabrielle Lisette Muniz, here goes her license. She did all of this from New York to a Florida court. Once again, you out of jurisdiction and you out of line. Never that made him mad. Betrayed because she knew how he felt about his son. Gabriel Muniz weaponized the courts and his pain. That's exactly what it was. I know for a fact, says Alberto. It was about you and his son. That's what the argument was that night. Detectives, you want to know what happened that night? That's what happened. I have a strong intuition. As you can see, I was hospitalized while they were all losing their lives. How would I know that? Because my intuition, my stomach, my sickness, my panic. Oh my God. She moved fast with him. And I feel like she said things to him. I feel she said, that's why you won't see your son. That's exactly what it was. He said, it was you and his son. She was very young and she was kind of an airhead. He wanted you and his son. Mind you, when everything happened, I couldn't focus because I'm dealing with real stressors of being a mother from far away. And seizures and all whatnot, and sisters attacking and new girlfriends manipulating. I did not hear him out. I did not. My nervous system shut down. So I wasn't, because these women around his sister and his manipulating girlfriend was so strong in the manipulation, they isolated him. That noise was so loud that I couldn't hear out my child's father, which is my soulmate. Because in May 2026 is when I got intense psychic revelations that I couldn't run away from. And he showed me everything. To the fact that I didn't even know that was my soulmate until you see the rest of my episodes. Now I know. So this is what I'm going through. So this here that they told eyewitness news, they ain't no damn eyewitnesses. This is a lie. Now let's get to the other lie. How they mixed my baby father's name with previous ex stories of her, because she hopped from one man to the next with her daughter. Rosha and her second husband had Joanna. Before the Munice's death, stayed with her in the Bronx in the summer. But I'm going to explain. She was going online for biomedical, but you didn't use your mind when you prescribed a person with borderline split disorder a SSRI without a mood stabilizer, and you pick a pharmacy all the way in Fordham Road so no one in the area knows what he's taking. But we know what he was taking, and we know exactly what she was doing. So this is what a classic case of what people do. They only mention titles, but not what was really going on. This story here, they mixed up two men in the story of my child's father, because they only got interviewed because of what happened with my child's father. But they were bringing up other men and did not give those names out. So they continued to paint Caleb. Okay? Caleb did not find out that she was going to... Listen, this is ridiculous. Let me tell you something. Caleb was pressured into being with her. You clearly saw it from his brother's mouth. He wanted to be with Mia and his son. A man that if he found out that she was going to leave him, this is ridiculous lies on several magazines and platforms to destroy his character and destroy his children and the truth. When someone is going to do something to you, they're going to do it and they're going to leave and run. It's going to be calculated. It's not going to be on spot through a episode of psychosis and then wander around while it's settling in and make phone calls. There's call logs. If they would have looked up the call logs, if they would have did an actual investigation with these prescription pills and Gabby's messages and where she had her hands in all of this like an octopus, instead of running and publishing all of this trash, lies, to just, this is all about ego, stroking egos and painting people out while destroying children. He wasn't even home that year. He wasn't even out in the summer. He came out in December. If they helped her move away from Duberry in early 2021, this makes no sense. Unless the whoever published this was sloppy. This is a lie because Caleb wasn't even home. That's what happened. They mixed up the previous boyfriend. He was not a leash, and nobody took... Oh, they're talking about the first boyfriend. Okay, that's the other boyfriend. See, they made a big mistake because that was not Duberry. That was not Caleb. That was her previous boyfriend. Okay? So she had just gotten away from the previous boyfriend, and when she saw Caleb coming fresh out of jail with his muscles and everything, and she was leaving her child's father's house in 1240 Morrison, she couldn't stop drooling that she lost all her senses and forgot that you do not do that. You do not mess with a guy that already lives. She had no respect for a child's father, or that was probably to make him feel small. She used Caleb for appearance, as well as she had him take her to school. She had him as a chauffeur. Oh my God, this is bad. Yeah, so this statement right here is false. This was her getting away from the previous boyfriend to go into her own apartment. So she didn't learn her lesson there, that when Caleb came home in late 2020, it's when she inserted herself. And she jumped and jumped and jumped. So you can tell with the documents. The documents speak very clear. In fact, let's do that. So why didn't she serve me the papers directly this way? Why did she do it the other way? Probably to win a default judgment, you know. Okay, so we went through those messages. She would call and say her baby daddy was coming. She made him be... Not only did she make up that, his sister clearly told me that she also was telling Caleb that she got raped by another guy to further agitate him and try to go protect her. This is what it was for her, a game. Now let's go to the rest. The things he would cry to me and vent. And the thing is that my intuition is so strong that I already knew all of this before speaking to him. She thought she would lose him, so she played dirty to get his son. But he did not plan all that court shit. Betrayed, almost, because she knew how he feel about his son. It was you and his son. That's exactly what it was, according to Alberto and me. I already knew all this stuff. I was just finally getting confirmations for what I was feeling in my heart and in my gut, you know. He wanted you and his son. This is my son. He didn't deserve that. Bad enough that he lost his father. Bad enough. Now you have a whole set of grown people covering up for their daughter's behavior and then publicizing eyewitness news when they're not eyewitnesses. These are eyewitnesses. These people are eyewitnesses. Do you understand? These are facts. These are facts of how much she controlled this man. And the perfect storm. These are eyewitness. These. Battery died. My battery died, guys. Sorry. So we're going to go through a few letters. Yes, you could see the manipulation was going on for a long time. She wrote my son a letter on his birthday. This is from his sister, Chastity. To my brother, Kisan. Happy birthday. Kisan, I wish you was in New York. I miss you and I love you. And I am going to buy you a Batman set. When you was here, I'm sorry for being mean to you. Tell Erica I said hi. My daughter. Because we had visited them and seen them. And that's the summer that I went and took them. I drove up to New York and we all went to see Michelle at the hospital. And I took Chastity, I took Brienne. That's my daughter. And he was stopping by her party that day to give us $300 and a laptop for her birthday. That's Kason and Caleb. And that was in jail, and I let him go visit him. This is one of the things. We met on Valentine's Day. We met on Valentine's Day 2008. We became a couple Valentine's Day 2009. Not within 4 months, like they did. You feel me? When I got with Caleb, he didn't have a record. He didn't have none of that. What I seen was the toxic friends that he had around him that were jealous. So I was more going through the fact that he got shot 8 times from the back at close range. They betrayed him and set him up, which is when he went to go pick up his sports gambling win, which is something that the new girlfriend, the karmic girlfriend, Gabrielle, liked to do. Amy and Victoria told me that as well. So that's how she would use that on top of using the pills against him in the court situation to isolate him, and her trying to manipulate his close family by prescribing meds that she should have, like, this is just so toxic that I'm getting sick just revisiting this, but I have to do what I have to do because his children matter too. And his truth, for someone who can't speak with mental health problems, attacks from all angles, and they did not get to defend themselves. It's sad. So it's like if he's speaking to me and he's guiding me, like I have chills. And all of these things started popping up again. That, if you're not ready to, it just was too much confusion, around the situation. Too much interference, But he was, he said he was not going to be ready to settle down until he's 40. That's not somebody who was going to plot on somebody to kill them, do 8 years in jail, and then because they were just, you don't love nobody in a couple of months. Okay? And I'm sorry, but this is the reality. Listen, Patricia, I love you, and I'm sorry I put you and your family through. That was the time that he broke my door, and that's why I left. And he had a dust trip. And it mimicked the same door that my father broke when I lived in that neighborhood. And that's why I left, because of that and the fact that he was set up and shot 8 times. I just didn't know if I was going to get caught in the crossfire. So our situation was different, you know. And that's how he started to act after that betrayal he went through, which I stated that in the podcast, you know. And he got caught up with that. But we're going to go through the final folder. And we're going to hit it on the spot. This is a text message. Last night, what occurred in front of the Nana, he's talking about Rosaria Estevez. It wasn't cool, Gabby. I don't appreciate you constantly calling her when she was in her room, when she was in the room, and we was going through our dilemmas. Kids should never have to witness anything like that. And you know I wasn't going to hurt you or any of that. Kay's not like that. And I was embarrassed, not only as a man, but as a father, because I'm constantly trying. I don't know how this thing got cut off. I wonder if I could fix it. This is old. But this was one of the messages that was found directly to Gabrielle to stop using her daughter as a pawn to show other people that she was so scared of him. Because if he was on parole and she was a paralegal, all she needed is that one phone call, just like she begged for him to be at her house. Just like they had an intervention because she had a child. Okay? So you're in the field of pharmacology and paralegalism, but that's the exact weapons you used against Caleb and his family. So I pray that from now on, people know the real truth, and his children, Chastity and Kason, can lift that burden off of them, even though it's not easy what happened to his father. But the truth needs to come out, because these children do not have to suffer a bunch of adults tarnishing everybody's name and ruining their idea of their father simply because of an obsessed girlfriend. Here, she's trying to make Caleb look mentally unstable, and she overrides him to now interfere with the aunt that was at the Boston sector houses, which she made him leave. But that's where he kept all of his things. As you've seen, Alberto showed that all of his sneakers, all of his money, all of his coats, everything was missing. Nothing was given to his kids. And his sister said she doesn't know. As you can see in the reports, when the mother, and that's not his mother, but they said the mother called and said that the man was very distraught. He called her and confessed about what he did. So we have a confession, and we have the proof that he was walking around and he couldn't, so he was settling in what happened to him. We have another proof of him calling Alberto and telling him everything that happened before he confessed. This is not the situation of a man planning to kill somebody because they're leaving him. Okay, so please erase that disgusting narrative and tell the truth for the kids that did survive, because she was not focused on her daughter, but instead she was focused on a man and his family. Okay? That's a lie. What Gabriella's mother says, my son lived with his daughter 8 years, raising them together. It's not what she says. She raised her daughter alone. There you go. And then in 11 months, this girl managed to open court cases on Caleb's baby mother. She managed to weaponize his son against him. She weaponized Caleb against her child's father, Rosara's father. And then the mother finished the job off with the rest of the lies because she's from Florida. She wasn't an eyewitness. And her father throwing his assumptions. I think, well, he didn't like her career. No, Gabriela failed to tell the father and the mother that she weaponized the exact same titles that they praised her with all over these platforms without having any evidence of what she actually did with their interest in those careers. Okay? She weaponized all of that to cage a man in and isolate him. Okay? And that's the truth. And then she speaks for a man that she knows less than 3 months and attacks a woman that is actively trying to protect her child from that already left the ghetto of the South Bronx that she left Florida for and put her daughter into. Okay, so this is completely backwards. And behalf as a woman, just cut it out. Just cut it out. And sadly, that's what happened. Her baby got caught up. Okay, sadly. Okay. Now this is how the brewer cooker was cooking up the pressure. Okay. Not what you think. Oh, she was trying to actually help. No, we have the testimonies and the real accounts. Okay. And that's what he sent me from jail. And despite me leaving in 2012, there was not, he was consistent throughout the exact 8-year timeline of trying to express his love for me and his son. Okay. So that's the part 3. Just on SSRIs alone, this man's family got awarded $6 million. That alone causes paranoia, and we have a testimony of him going through that. So what was that? Was a direct, targeted isolation, which ended in 3 people losing their lives, not just 2. And it could have all been avoided had she used her actual careers and intelligence to protect her child and herself instead of gambling with people's lives, sanity. Okay? That's the truth. That's the truth. Right there. That's the truth. Okay? So for future reference, yeah, and this was when I was going to make my own court case. But I said, you know what, I'm going to just go Monday and file it. But they were deceased by that time. Within 3 days. Okay, so that's all the proof. And as you can see, these are court papers back here from family court. Because I was going to open up my own case. Because I don't understand you opening cases. I mean, you don't even know where I'm at. That's why she thought she knew more. And she thought that she could manipulate me. And she thought that she could betray him with his son. And that's why it ended. And that's why her baby girl is not here today with her real father. Because of what she did. Using people to target other people. And using titles for power. Yes, Smith K. Line, his family was awarded $6.4 million for an SSRI. He took 2 doses. Only 2 doses. Caleb only took 1. And he woke up. He woke up and look. It wasn't a, oh, I'm gonna kill you because you're moving to Florida. This is bullshit. This is a psychotic break. Wife, daughter, granddaughter, and himself. And they were awarded $6.4 million for that. Hijacked the brain chemistry in a matter of days. Intoxication-induced homicide. So refrain from your petty lines. All right? Refrain from that, because this is what your daughter was doing. And that's how she ended up where she is now. And my children and his children have no father. And that could have been prevented. Okay? That's what happened. The narrative went on for too long, and I'm sure they found out pieces. But, of course, some families thrive off of ego and appearance. And they don't care what his kids that are living have to deal with. And Rosara's dad, he went through that isolation and her manipulative, disrespectful tactics. Okay? He was prescribed 45 pills. The first pill, boom. As you can see, the other guy, it only took 2 doses. Boom. All right? So the next time you want to praise people for titles and bullshit and make up lies, do your research. Don't speak on what you don't know. And all that, just you only want RIP for your daughter? You should have also told my child RIP for his father. And his daughter that doesn't have a father now. That's not how you do things. That's the reality. That's the reality. And I received that message Friday, March 2022. And that's the truth. Okay? So, as you could tell, like, I'm upset. I'm upset. That shit hurts. And what hurts as well is the disregard for his living children. And that's all. That's all I gotta say. And that was me bringing out the albums when I was grieving. I don't know, what you reaching out to somebody who kicked them out into the street before and created a storm for him. But it's frustrating, but don't mind my anger and my grief, because it comes and goes, and then I have periods of like, okay, calmness. But yeah, I'm not trying to intentionally offend nobody, but I really wanted to get the truth, and just how I get as I'm going through the motions. I could feel it, you know. Yeah, so I forgot to say, so my mother had a coma, exactly the same type of coma Michelle had, exactly 8 years right after Michelle. And she was in a coma for 8 days, and I flew over there, and they told me to unplug her. So I pulled out I Googled a liberation prayer, deliverance, and she started shaking, and she opened her eyes the next day. She had a trach, so after that, she was able to tell me. By the time it came, they put the piece in there probably like a month later.
She told me she saw Caleb in the room of review. She saw my father in the light. And although I still wasn't able to process what was going on in 2024, I know that he's free from the torment and torture that he had to live through on this earth, and he's good. They call that place either purgatory or the room of review, or both. So one reason why the truth has to come out is because it elevates him. When a person dies in a tragic way and it wasn't by intent, the crime that was committed wasn't an intention, the soul deserves the truth and prayer to elevate them. And he's going through a process of purification. So it took me 2 years to figure this out. But everything came to me on Mother's Day. And one thing I want to say, it came to me on Mother's Day 2026, 2 years later. And one thing I want to say, that this all stems of a result of many of us in the earth were going through trying to heal the mother wound, whether it's the mother wound or the father wound, but your upbringing. And he was my exact mirror. And that's why we just, we needed that time apart to wake up. The thing is that when he was going through his spiritual awakening, it got too intense. And he was around the wrong people. And sometimes we don't know that things are going to happen, but I just couldn't make sense of what I was dreaming or feeling. I wish they would have told me directly, hey, your twin or your child's father is going to go through something like that. It was difficult. It was a spiritual warfare. And that's all I got to say. Peace.
Love like I won't last without you. All that I got to you, baby. I gave you all the love I got. I gave you more than I could give. Gave you love. I gave you all that I have inside. And you took my love. What I believe. Somebody say that the love that I won't last. When I give you all that I got to.
He made me believe in me. So you'll always, always, always be here.
Although we might just slip, got a second chance in the King. Justified by my faith, no, the devil ain't liking this. So we gon' keep these laws to the end. We gon' keep our faith in the King, what he did. We gon' keep these laws to the end. We gon' keep our faith in the King, what he did. Messiah, 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 Messiah. You gotta say, be faithful. And not in yourselves. That's the gift for you. But sometimes. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Oh. Love like I won't last without you. All that I got to you, baby.
God, I gave you more than I could give. Gave you love. I gave you all that I have inside. And you took my love. What I believe. Somebody say that love that won't last. When I give you all that I got to. He made me believe in me. Say it'll always, always, always be here.
Although we might just slip, got a second chance in the king. Justified by my faith, no, the devil ain't liking this. So we gon' keep these laws to the end. We gon' keep our faith in the king, what he did. We gon' keep these laws to the end. We gon' keep our faith in the king, what he did. Messiah, 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 Messiah. I pray you by saying, be faithful, and not in yourselves.